told him that I knew he wasn't taking any meds because of his probation, but he should probably talk to somebody. And I think he did check himself in September.
The meds, let's talk about meds. Did you, I guess, how close were you and Ramsay in the last 6 months of his life?
Very close.
Were you aware that he'd been placed on probation for an assault?
Yes.
Were you aware that he had been prescribed medications for the anxiety disorder?
Yes.
Were you aware what medications he was prescribed?
I don't know exactly what medication. He told me the name of it. It was an anti-anxiety medication. It wasn't Xanax. It was one that did not have addictive properties. So, they have antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication like SSRIs that don't have an addictive property to them like Xanax. And he indicated, we talked about that he didn't want anything he could become addicted to.
Would you talk, I guess, during the time that he was on probation about his probation?
Yes.
Were there times that he called to ask you questions about his probation?
Yes.
Were you the one he called when there were violations or when he was in the potential for being violated?
He worried, he would text me or call me that he'd missed one, and I just told him go in and do a blood test. And he would follow my advice usually, because, that's what I do.
Okay. Prior to his being placed on probation, I guess, were you aware of his drinking habits?
Yes.
What were they like?
My brother and I were very close, so he worried about Ramsay drinking. There was an incident where Ramsay had a fight with a guy he went to high school with, and I think the whole family was very supportive of Ramsay being on probation, and the component of that probation was no drinking, which he really followed.
Did Ramsay have a brother?
Yes.
And what was his brother's name?
Jason.
Was it an older or younger brother?
Jason is older.
Where is Jason currently residing?
Jay lives in New Orleans.
Do you know when he moved down there?
I think, if I'm correct, in the spring of 2014, maybe March.
So after this incident or before the murder?
I'm sorry, it would be before. He went back and forth a number of times. So, I think permanently before the murder. Because I remember Jay kind of going back and forth about whether or not he should leave after his dad died. So, yes, before the murder.
I want to talk about your brother Dan, Ms. Scrivo's husband. Again, another piece of information. We've heard bits and pieces through some of the witnesses and through some of our questions and through opening statements. And I want to get some clarification. When did your brother Dan die?
My brother Danny died in May of 2013.
What did he die of?
Complications from hepatitis C. He got an infection. It went septic. He went into organ failure and was in the hospital for a day or two and then was sent home with hospice.
When you indicate it was hepatitis C, what was the reason that he had hepatitis C?
He was an IV drug user in his late teen years. He was diagnosed with Hep C. Sometime in his 20s, they figured it out, and he knew that he didn't have a long time left.
When, I guess, was this a long time coming then, or was it sudden?
No, well, the hepatitis C was a long time. I mean, he was sick for obviously 20, 30 years. It started to get worse the last couple years, but him dying was more sudden. He had infection from an injection.
We'll talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
During the opening statement, I heard the term widowmaker, like sudden, all of a sudden heart attack. Is that how he died?
No, I think that's a mix-up. My husband died of a heart attack. I'm sorry.
Take your time. Would you like some water?
No, thank you. In 2008.
Breathe deep. Breathe just so we can all hear.
My husband died of a heart attack in 2008, and that's what the medical examiner told me. It was the widowmaker, which is that big artery. He just dropped dead. So I think that the defense attorney might be confused between that and my brother.
Had your brother had heart surgery earlier in his life?
Yes, when he was young, maybe 13, 14, my brother had open heart surgery. One of the reasons he couldn't do interferon for his hepatitis was his heart. They didn't know if it would be able to take it. So,
was he hospitalized at all, Dan, during the last year of his life?
Yes. He went in twice that I know of. Once for a day or two, and then he was home, and then obviously the week that he died.
Have there been an estrangement in the family between your brother Dan and Donna and his family and you and the rest of your family?
Yes.
And when did that start?
Let's see. My daughter Catherine would have been a baby, so in 1998, Donna got upset with me, and they stopped speaking to the family for a number of years.
How many years?
About 8.5.
Did there come a time, obviously, then when the estrangement ended?
Yes.
And would you tell the jury when that was and how that came about?
Mother's Day of 2008, Ramsay came over to my mother's home, and he very much wanted to get the family back together. He started coming over, and then my brother and his wife started coming over again, Dan and Donna. I didn't see them much. When my husband died in August of 2008, kind of normal family relationship resumed. I think given what happened with my husband, it just seemed almost cruel to keep it going. So they started coming back into the family, and everybody just decided that, we would never talk about that again. Frankly, my mom was just so happy to have my brother back.
In the last couple of years, last year of your brother's life, how often would you see him?
My brother?
Yes.
Almost every day, practically, or at least every other day. He would stop by my house for coffee.
Were you working at the Attorney General's office at that time?
Yes. I went to the Attorney General's office in 2008.
2008.
Yes. So.
Mr. Catala, let me interrupt you for a moment. I have one brief
Yes.
matter to handle on the record. You can stay where you're at. Deputy Ryan,
communicate in the last year your brother Dan was ill and he was dying, but he was still working.
Yes.
And he was working every day.
Yes, he very much wanted to work for as long as he could. And he said kept his mind off of things.
Neither of these hospitalizations were extensive.
No.
The doctor's appointments were being kept.
Yes.
I want to move to approximately a month or so prior to his death. First off, is Donna a registered nurse?
Yes.
As of 2013, how long had she been a registered nurse to your knowledge?
I would say about 30 years because she went back to nursing school when my nephews were little, but I don't know exactly.
But she was a registered nurse.
Yes.
And during this time between 2008 and 2013, she actually had been working as a registered nurse.
Yes.
You had indicated about an acceleration in your brother's condition. Did he show you something?
Yes. He showed me a red mark on his hip, almost sort of towards his buttocks, over at my mom's house.
When was that? Do you know specifically what date he died in May?
I don't remember the exact date.
Was it beginning of the month, end of the month,
It
middle?
was Mother's Day weekend.
Which would be more toward, I guess, the beginning of the month?
It's more towards the beginning of the month. I just remember that I was in the hospital. It was Mother's Day weekend. I was there with my son in the emergency room and my brother upstairs dying. And I remember thinking, this is some Mother's Day.
And what did he show you? I mean, we know he's dying from Hep C. You've indicated the process that it was beginning to follow. Was he hospitalized also?
My brother?
Yes, at that time?
No.
Okay.
He was just going about his normal business. He was at my mom's. He was rubbing his hip. And I asked him what was going on. And this would be, maybe a couple weeks before he died. I don't remember the exact date, but he showed it to me, and it was all sort of red and irritated. And he just said Donna had given him a B12 shot.
Did you ever confirm that with Donna?
Yeah, I did. She and I did talk about it. She said yes. He has a compromised immune system. She'd given him a B12 shot. And it became infected, and she was urging him after that to go to the doctor. My understanding is that he got blood poisoning. He went in, he had a massive bacterial infection. They tried to get him together, but he was already pretty compromised health-wise. So he went into organ failure, just complete organ failure. He was dead probably a couple weeks after he showed me that area.
How did Ramsay react to his father's death?
Badly. The morning my brother died, I went over to see him.
Where did he die?
At home. I'm sorry. He was going into organ failure. Hospice was called in. He went home that night with my sister-in-law, and the hospice workers left 2 vials of morphine with him. I had to go home and check on my kids, and my teenage son was also having an issue, so I needed to go home and be there. In the morning, I went back over to see my brother. He was already gone, dead. Ramsay was on the sofa asleep, but almost asleep, kind of like just too soundly asleep, so I was a little bit concerned.
What about the bottles of morphine? You had indicated 2 bottles of morphine had been brought home. What was the status of the morphine after your brother died?
One was empty, and the St. Clair Shores police showed up, there seemed to be a great deal of concern over the fact that the morphine was supposed to be given as needed according to hospice. It seemed like the first vial of morphine went through rather quickly, certainly quicker than the hospice nurses thought it should. There seemed to be some concern that Donna said to me she thought Ramsay may have taken it. So I decided me and my nephew Jay decided to have Ramsay committed to the hospital and to check and see if he had taken it.
And we've heard something early on a number of times about Ramsay being hospitalized in May. You're the one that actually brought him to the hospital for hospitalization. At the time that you brought him, any time in the month or 2 months prior to that, had Ramsay made any statements to you about being suicidal?
No.
Had Ramsay made any statements to you that day before that day that you brought him to the hospital about being suicidal?
No.
The records seem to indicate some suicidal issues. Did you receive any information about Ramsay being suicidal?
Donna told me she thought he took the missing morphine. So in order to make them keep him, I checked the box that he might be a danger to himself or to others because I really just wanted them to keep him and check and make sure there was nothing in his system that I was missing. Because I was afraid in all the hullabaloo about my brother that something might have happened to Rams, and I would just feel terrible. And Jason, my nephew, felt too it was better to be safe than sorry.
Was it determined that there was any morphine in Ramsay's system?
No. And he kept saying to me, I don't need to go to the hospital, but I sort of made him go.
Then he was there for several days in the unit.
Yes.
What was your relationship then with Donna like after the death of your brother?
Donna and I were pretty close. I mean, we both really wanted to get along, and I lost my husband. I understand what it's like. It's very difficult. She had a kid with issues. I have a son that has a milder anxiety disorder. I had a lot of sympathy for her situation.
In July, we've learned there was a fire at Donna's house, and Donna moved in with Ramsay. Did you have, I guess, any sense about how that was going to work out when you heard about that?
I thought it was not a good idea. I offered Ramsay to stay at my house. He was working on my house. I thought Donna was having a lot of trouble coping with my brother's death. She and Ramsay, they loved each other, but it was a difficult relationship, and my brother was always the person running interference. So it just didn't seem like a good idea. She was very distraught over my brother, and I didn't think that it was a good idea.
Were you aware of Ramsay's overnight hospitalization in September?
Yes, I found out later, though.
Okay. Not at the time?
No.
Did you find out before or after his death?
Before.
During the time, now we take it from, say, September to December, you've indicated on a couple of occasions Ramsay was doing some work at your house, I guess. How often was he there? What type of work was he doing?
He did work at my house through the summer and through the fall, and he painted the exterior of my house. He painted some of the bedrooms. He did some of the landscaping. My nephew Jason did some of the landscaping. For a long time, he was there almost every day.
Would, I guess, that provide you opportunities to have a lot of conversations with him?
Yeah, we had a chance to talk more than we had in years. It was nice.
In any of these conversations, did he ever mention that he was suicidal? Did you ever become concerned that he could be harmful to himself in any fashion?
No. No, the last 6 months he was really doing well. He was really proud of how well he was doing with his probation. He was really trying.
I guess, what was the mood like? I see the picture from the Christmas party, which was in December 2013, a month before his murder. How did the relationship seem between the two of them, between Donna and Ramsay?
It seemed okay. A little strained sometimes, but it seemed all right. Ramsay was in a real good mood Christmas Eve. He always enjoyed talking to my daughter because they were both lacrosse players. So he specifically asked me for a Coke. I noticed that he didn't drink a beer or anything, so it seemed really pretty good.
We know that you saw him on December 24th. We know he was murdered on January 25th. How often did you see him between those two dates?
Just one more time before he was murdered. He was at my mom's picking up Chinese food, and we all lived real close together, so I would try to stop by my mom's at least once a week. And my other brother, who also died in 2014, was very ill, so we had a little birthday party for him, just the immediate family. We had Chinese food. Ramsay stopped by to pick up some Chinese food. He stood in the doorway, gave me a hug. He said, "Oh, I'm not going to come all the way in. Yeah, I've got paint all over me," but we chatted for, maybe 5 minutes. And then he took his food. My mom had put some food in a Tupperware, and he scooted out the door.
How did you learn Ramsay was missing?
Donna called me.
When was that?
Sunday night.
Which would have been January 26th?
Yes.
Did you take the phone call?
No. It went to voicemail. I just thought she was calling to chat, and a lot of times we would fall into how much we miss our husbands, and I just wasn't in the mood. It's just sort of sad, so I thought, I'll call her back in the morning.
And did you, did you hear from other family members then that Ramsay was missing, or did you listen to that phone call the next day and realize then that Ramsay was missing?
I listened to that phone call early in the morning.
On Monday the 27th?
Yeah, I usually get up about 5:36, and I listened to the phone call, and then I felt terrible. And as soon as it got to be 7, where I thought I could contact her, I called her back.
What did you ask her, and what did she say?
I asked her what happened. She said Ramsay had gone for a walk and had not returned. That seemed very strange because it was super cold. I mean, it was like that weird where it was 3 degrees, that crazy cold snap. So then we kind of texted throughout the day. I said, if there's anything I can do, let me know. I called the Macomb County jail. If you call the jail and you ask them to look up a name, they can check all the Macomb County. I mean, I was surprised because he had been doing really, really well on his probation, but I mean, I checked it anyway. We just, basically that was it. He had gone to buy cigarettes, walked up to buy cigarettes, and had never come home that night. And that if I heard from him, to let her know.
Did suicide cross your mind?
No.
Did a binge cross your mind?
Yeah, maybe. I guess that's why I called the jail. I thought, God, I wonder if he fell off the wagon. But, I'd just seen him and he'd been doing so well. So I was kind of bummed. But
did you see Donna anytime during this week?
Yeah.
When did you see her?
at my mom's for just a few minutes, but I didn't stay for dinner. They all had Chinese food.
What night was that?
I think Wednesday. I'm sorry, I cannot remember, either Tuesday or Wednesday. I stopped by my mom's, just for a few minutes.
Were you talking to her by phone?
But I talked to her by phone a lot. Yes, I can be more certain about that. I talked to her every single day by phone. We were texting each other back and forth.
What was she saying that she was doing?
I have the text messages.
Okay, if you
but
could, you feel free to look at them and review them if you wish.
I'm sorry. May I get my purse? It's sitting on your chair. I've got them. Just give me a second. So here's January 27th, which she would have called me on the 26th. And then on the 27th, so I called her back. Then she left me a message. Sorry to bother. I didn't know you aren't feeling good. Let me know if I can help. Love. And then about an hour later, no problem. Any word, question mark, that's me. Then her, no, nothing yet. Went to a few bars he used to go to, but no one had seen him. Thank you. And I said, okay, and I have a sad face. January 28th, at 8 in the morning before I left for court, I said, I just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you. I have a doctor appointment today, but text me if you hear anything. I love you, and I'm saying lots of prayers. And then her response, thank you, no news yet. Good luck at the doctor. Love you too.
Let me ask a question. Did she indicate where else besides bars she went to look for him?
She mentioned that, this was on the phone, that she had gone down by the water. She had some scratches. She said she had gone down by the water and that
You made a mark with your hand, but you didn't verbalize.
Oh,
Would you
I'm very
indicate where
sorry.
you saw scratches?
I should know better. She had scratches on her arms, here and here, that I saw. Now, she didn't have a short-sleeved top on, but, just here and here.
They were scratches, not bruises?
No, scratches.
Okay.
And she said she had been looking through the brambles down by the lake, which was frozen quite a bit out. But we live in, I live in Grosse Pointe. They live in St. Clair Shores. There's that stretch of lake.
Correct.
Of Lakeshore Drive in between.
So she indicated she was down there looking for him physically?
Yes.
She indicated that she also went to some bars to see if he was there?
Yes, and the drugstore, I think it's a CVS where he normally walked up to get his cigarettes.
Did you indicate to her whether or not she should be, putting posters up or providing photographs to the police department for purposes of broadcasting?
I thought we should put something, I didn't talk about the posters, but I suggested Facebook. And Ramsay had a Facebook page of which I was a friend, and he had, a couple hundred friends on there. So I thought maybe we should put something up and say, did anybody see him? She indicated that she was afraid he would be embarrassed. She indicated to me several times she didn't want him to be embarrassed, that if he had made some sort of a mistake and he was just going to come home in a day or two, that she didn't want to embarrass him.
So essentially she discouraged you from attempting to publicize any further than the family the fact that he was missing?
I'm going to object. I didn't hear that from her testimony.
I'll rephrase.
Okay.
Facebook sends information out to the public.
She definitely, I tried a couple times, she definitely did not want me doing the Facebook thing at all. And I did indicate to her by text that I checked the jail. But the Facebook thing, she just said she didn't want him to be embarrassed. Which actually made, I don't know, I thought, well, the police will make her do it in a day or two anyway.
How did you learn about body parts being found and where they were found?
When I get home from work, I usually get dinner on for the kids and then flick the news on. And I was watching the news, and I had been paying particular attention, obviously, because my nephew was missing. And I heard they found body parts, but I didn't think it was him until I saw Donna.
When you say you saw Donna, would you explain to the jury where you saw Donna?
I looked up, and I saw her standing sideways on the TV talking on the telephone, and they said that this woman was a person of interest in the missing body parts. I just felt sick. I knew it was Ramsay.
Was there any doubt when you looked at the photographs being placed on the screen that it was your sister-in-law, Donna?
No.
What did you do next?
I called my nephew, Jimmy, my son, my brother Ralph, and my sister-in-law Kay had picked up Donna and brought her over to their house to watch a movie. I hadn't talked to my family during the day because I'm in court a lot of the time, so I can't always get to a phone. But apparently the police had contacted Donna to identify dental records. So my brother and his wife said, why don't you come stay with us? We'll put a movie on or something. And they were going to go with her the next day to identify, to bring the dental records. So I knew she was with my brother Ralph and his wife Kay. And I was afraid that she might do something desperate. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of freaked out, so I called my nephew Jim and said, is Aunt Donna at your parents'? And he said, yes. So I called the St. Clair Shores Police Department.
Do you know who you spoke to?
A detective named Jay.
Coho?
Yes.
And you indicated to him where she was at the time?
Yes.
Now, I heard an opening statement that at some point in Donna's life, bless you, Judge,
Thank you.
was employed at St. John's Hospital.
She was employed at St. John's for a long time, and not when my brother died, but for many years, yes.
And then she left St. John's Hospital.
Yes.
Did she ever tell you why she left St. John's Hospital?
Just that there was some sort of lawsuit involving an attorney, but never any specifics.
So it was a contract dispute?
Objection to the leading nature of the question.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor.
All right.
The opening statement was she developed an anxiety disorder and therefore couldn't handle her job as a registered nurse. Is that what she told you was the cause for her leaving St. John's?
No.
What little information did she tell you?
The little bit of information I heard was that she was let go. There was some problem at work, and then there was some type of resolution, settlement. I don't know. It's just My brother asked me for the name of a good lawyer.
So that's what you had heard
That's so,
from
right.
her.
And I really tried to just completely stay out of it.
At some point in May of 2013, after your brother died, did you become aware that Donna had filed or petitioned through the court system and received guardianship over Ramsay?
Yes.
Did you think anything positive or negative about that?
Again, I just didn't think it was a good idea. I thought maybe someone less close to the situation would be a better guardian. Myself, his brother Jay. Donna loved Ramsay very much, but they had a difficult relationship. Sometimes there would be arguments, and she was having a lot of trouble coping with my brother's death. So I just thought maybe someone less close to the situation would be a better fit.
You didn't have any problem with it other than that? You didn't fight it? It was
No.
mother and son?
No, it's her son, so no.
Okay. I have a second, Your Honor.
Certainly.
We had talked about your observations of Donna physically during that short period of time that you saw her on the Wednesday, and you had indicated some scratches, and I indicated whether they scratches or bruises. Did you see any other bruising or scratches about her body other than that which was on her arms?
I just saw the scratches on her arms.
Did she tell you that she was being held against her will?
No. I mean, we communicated pretty freely during that time period, so no, she didn't say
Did
that.
she ask you for any help for her personally, aside from asking if you had seen Ramsay?
No.
Did she let on at all if there was any trouble with her at that condo at that moment?
No. I mean, I'm in law enforcement, so if I thought that, there would have been police there.
Anything about any other nature other than the general stuff in the text that you received from Donna, any other statements about what effort she was making during that time to find Ramsay?
No, none.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.